Welcome back to the Dice Tower's coverage of Origins 2018. I'm Eric Summerer here with Emerson Matsuuchi from Plan B Games. Probably, I would venture to say, the happiest guy here at Origins. Because
likely,
you
yes.
have sold out not one, but 2 games in the last 2 days.
Yes.
Let's talk about the first.
Sure.
This is the latest in the Century series, Century Eastern Wonders, which is not only a standalone game, but can also be integrated with Century Spice Road from last year.
That is correct. Yes.
Let's talk about Eastern Wonders on its own first.
Okay, sure. So, folks who are familiar with Spice Road will notice that it looks quite different. And mechanically, it is quite different. In Spice Road, it's more of a hand-building game, where some people call it an engine building game, where you're collecting cards and then you're using those cards to trade. In this one, the cards, you'll see that the cards are absent, and now we have a board. So instead of it being a hand management game, this is more of a pick up and deliver game.
Really?
Yes. So you're on your turn, you're going to be moving your boat 1 space for free.
Okay.
You can continue to move as much as you want, but for each space that you move, you'll have to put a cube down. If you land on a space, so we'll grab some of these cubes as an example.
So they're the same resources basically from Spice Road.
That's correct.
Okay.
Same but different. So in Spice Road, this was turmeric, saffron, cardamom, and cinnamon.
Yep.
In this game, this is now ginger, this is chili, this is tea, and cloves.
I'm impressed you can keep that all straight.
I struggled. You saw I kind of hesitated there for a bit. Because the game now takes place in the Indonesian Isles, where cloves trading was a very, very lucrative industry. And in fact, a lot of the countries of the world at that time were actually competing in this area.
All right.
So you are a privateer, representing your nation, trying to be the next wealthiest entrepreneur.
All right, so I can move 1 space for free, but if I want to go farther, I have to spend my resources to do so.
So correct. So let's say I'm the white player and I'm moving here, and I really want to go to that space. I can move 1 space for free, but once I move an additional space, I have to leave a cube behind. And you could do this any number of times. Although, when this happens, let's say I decide to end my move there. If I continued on, I would just simply place a cube there and move on.
Sure.
But let's say I end my move there. The black player is there, so now I must pay you a cube because into your cargo hold.
Nice.
Okay. So, also, if you move into an area where somebody left a cube, you can take that cube. Okay. So that's the movement. That's something that everyone does on their turn for free. Okay. Next is that you have to choose between 1 of 3 actions. One of the actions is you can simply harvest. You can simply take 2 yellow cubes and add it to your cargo hold.
And we have 10 spaces in our cargo hold.
Correct. So it's just like Spice Road.
Yes.
The next action, which is probably the action that most players will be taking, is that you can trade at these islands. So, as an example, let's say that I have 2 brown cubes. I really want to go to this location right here. So I would simply, on my start of my turn, I would move to this location. Then, before I can trade, I actually need an outpost there. So since there are no outposts there, I can place an outpost there, but it must match this icon right here. You simply take it from the matching row.
Okay.
You place it there. For me, it's free. And then now I can do this trade any number of times. So I could take my 2 brown cubes and get 4 green cubes.
Yes.
Okay. So another interesting aspect is, I'm not sure if they can see it, but as you are able to place these trading posts out there, you'll notice now you'll be earning victory points as you do.
I'm not sure if the camera can see it, but there's numbers progressively higher as you go farther along in those various rows.
Correct.
Yeah.
And as you place these trading posts out, if you're able to clear a column, this icon will show you that you can then get one of the upgrades, which is a new feature in Eastern Wonders.
Okay.
So this new mechanic is that you can actually upgrade the capabilities of your ship. So here, you can get 3 additional cargo spaces right here.
Okay.
So you can store more. And you can have multiples of these. You're not limited to just 1.
Okay.
So what I like to do is to get this is one of my favorites. I like to get a whole bunch of cubes. And then say if I have 8 brown cubes, I can go to this spot and get 16 green cubes.
Wow.
So you could do things at a much larger scale.
Yeah.
Okay. The next upgrade is this one right here. Every time that you place an outpost on the board, you get to upgrade one of your cubes for free. So you can upgrade this green cube to a brown each time, and it's also worth 2 victory points at the end of the game as well. Okay. This one right here will give you an additional space of movement. So instead of moving one space for free, you can move 2 spaces for free every turn.
Perfect.
So, and you could stack these. So you could, if you want
Wow.
to travel around the board, you can collect these.
And if you clear 5 rows, you get up to 5 upgrades.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. Next, we have this one. So I mentioned before, the first action you could take is or one of the actions you could take is harvesting, where you take 2 yellow cubes. If you have this upgrade, you could take 2 yellow cubes and a red cube.
Nice.
If you have multiples of these, they do stack, so you can take 2 yellow cubes and 2 red cubes, and so forth. And they're also worth 1 point each at the end of the game.
Yep. And then I see straight up points.
And then, of course, you have straight up victory points. The first person to grab it gets 6 victory points. Next is 5, and it goes progressively lower.
Okay. All right. Are there also orders we are fulfilling?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for mentioning that. The third action that you can take is that you can move to one of the ports over here. Oh, that's you. You can move to one of the ports over here.
I could move there.
And you can collect the victory points that are here. So you just trade those back into the supply and you gain those victory points.
And there's a stack of these, so I imagine this replaces?
Yes, that's correct. Now there's a special tile here. This is the X tile, or the port closed tile.
Ah.
So once this is there, that port is closed temporarily. As soon as somebody else, let's say if the black player were to come here and claim this victory points, this will actually then move to here.
To prevent someone from just camping on an area and just turning stuff in.
Sure, that's correct.
You have to sail around.
That's right. That's right. We want to encourage people to explore the Indonesian islands.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
For lucrative opportunities.
So that, I believe, is what is the end game?
The end game is when one player gets 4 of these tiles that will trigger the end of the game.
Okay.
So you finish out the round, then you see how many points you've collected on your victory point tiles, how many points you've collected on your board from placing out outposts, as well as any victory points on the upgrades that you've received.
Excellent.
Whoever has the most points is the winner. Oh, and you will also get 1 point for each non-yellow cube in your cargo hold.
Not a caravan.
Not a caravan.
But speaking of the caravan, this can be integrated with Century Spice Road. I noticed that there are card-shaped spaces on this playmat. Does that have something to do with how this integrates?
You are incredibly keen and observant.
I'm observant. I don't play the games well, but I can look at them real good.
Yes. No, you are absolutely right. So when you combine this with Century Spice Road, you'll actually take the market cards from Spice Road and then you will lay them out here with the deck being placed over here.
Okay.
So the game actually changes. The variant is called From Sand to Sea. Oh, in fact, I could show you that when you purchase the game, you'll actually get 2 sets of instructions.
Oh, so the rules are different.
Yes, they're placed on a separate sheet, but this is the rules for Century Eastern Wonders. It's a single sheet front and back.
Yep.
And if you want to play the combined game, it is Century From Sand to Sea, and that's also a sheet.
So you don't have to keep flipping back and forth to different sections of a rule book. You can simply refer to this if you're playing with both games.
Yes, that is correct.
Nice.
Okay. So in the Century Sand to Sea, the rules are going to sound very similar to Spice Road.
Yeah.
So there are 4 actions you can take. One is that you can play a card just exactly the same way that you do in Spice Road.
Right.
You take the action on the card. It'll be placed face up in front of you. The second action you could take is you could take one of the market cards up here.
Sure.
And of course you would pay a gradual amount to get farther down the line.
Yes.
Okay. That's the second. The third action is as you've played the cards, you could take all the cards that you've played back into your hand. So those 3 actions are identical in Spice Road.
Same thing. Yep.
The fourth action is that you can take one of the cards that you've played or one of the cards in your hand. You could flip them face down to move your boat.
Okay.
So when you move your boat, you can then take either the market action. So there is no harvest action in this version.
Yeah.
You could take the market action, or you can go to port to claim a tile. There are no victory point cards, so the way to get the victory points is by moving your boat. So,
oh, interesting. So
yes.
It is very much sounds almost like 2 totally different games with different focuses.
Yes, yes. The interesting part is that when you're flipping the cards face down, you can flip any number of cards face down on your turn to move your boat that number of spaces. So let's say if you wanted to move to a tile 3 spaces away, you flip over 3 cards face down, and it could be either from your hand or from the face-up cards that you've played.
Okay.
So it's encouraging you to play the cards Century 1 style to actually get the benefit, and then flip that over to then activate your boat.
And then how do I get those cards back face up, or are they gone forever?
No, when you rest, you take the cards from the face down pile and your face up pile back into your hand.
Ah, okay. Well, we need to move on. I'd love to talk about this more, but we should move on to a second game that's done quite well here. That is Reef, which it comes from the new Plan B imprint
That is correct.
Next Move games.
Yes. So this new imprint is focused on abstract style games, but with a theme.
Yep.
So each of the, like Azul and Reef are the two games in this line. They both have a theme. They're both somewhat abstract, but they have nice themes to it, and with gorgeous components and very simple rule sets.
Yeah.
So I think that's the focus of next move.
Sure.
So in the game of Reef, each player is sort of like an ecologist. We're trying to rebuild the coral reefs to,
Sure.
you know, to help preserve this natural habitats of a lot of marine life. Now, the game boils down to being a game about getting the most victory points, though. Okay, so this game is a little bit simpler. There's actually only two things that you can do on your turn.
Okay.
You can either take a card or you can play a card.
Sounds easy.
Sounds like it's half the complexity of Spice Rapid right
There you go.
Okay, each player will start with two cards in their hand. So I'll just take them from the bottom. Okay. All right. So you'll notice that each card has two sections to them.
Yep.
Okay, it's got the top and the bottom section. All right. Each player also has a hand limit of 4 cards.
Okay, so I can't just keep drawing cards forever.
That's
At some
correct.
point, I have to play one.
Yes, once you hit 4 cards, you must play a card.
Okay.
Okay. But in order to acquire the cards, you can simply take a card from this row into
Okay.
your hand.
And it gets
Or
replaced.
It gets replaced. You'll notice that the deck is actually face up, because if you want this card, you can take this card, but you must spend 1 victory point. Sometimes I like to call these sand dollars.
Nice.
So you must pay
Yes.
1 sand dollar
Yes.
on one of these, and you must place it on the one with the lowest value in the corner.
Sure.
If there is a tie like we have here, you
to
could place it
choose.
on any one that you want.
Sure.
And then you could take this and put it into your hand.
But if I really want it, it might be worth that point.
Yes, that's
Sure.
correct. Okay. The next part, which is the most fun part, is to actually play the cards. When you play a card, the top part you must execute first. It tells you what pieces you take from the supply and place it onto your reef.
So I just take them and I can place them anywhere?
Anywhere, yes.
Okay.
Anywhere on your reef. You can't put it in your opponent's reef.
Okay.
That'll be an expansion.
Aha.
Then what you do is you would then look at the bottom portion after you place it, and then you would score. So this one would say that you would score 1 point for every yellow that's on top. So in this game, you're only concerned about the pieces that are on top. The pieces underneath are irrelevant.
And I noticed that the pieces that you get to place
Yes.
never really correspond, rarely correspond to what you're going to score.
Yes, that
So you
is
have
correct.
to sort of get one card that's going to help you score this card.
Yes.
But then what do I do with these pieces for this? Oh, I'm hoping to score this card.
Right, right. Well, sometimes you can get into a vicious cycle where you need to play card A to score card B, which will allow you to score card C, but you need to play card C to score card A, and you're in this vicious cycle.
And you just have to sort of suck it up for one of them.
Yes.
So you can get that engine moving.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so what ends the game?
Okay, so what ends the game is when one of these colored pieces runs out, in which case you finish out the round, and you can tell who is the start player with the start fish.
Oh, the start fish.
The start fish.
Okay, yes.
So you finish out the round, and at the end you before the end, whatever cards you still have in your hand, you will actually get to score the bottom portion, but only once, which I should explain that when you score one of these cards, so you'll see that they'll have different patterns.
Yep.
For each instance of that pattern that occurs on your coral, you're going to score the points multiple times.
So if I have 3 patterns of these diagonal purples, I'll score
8 points.
Yeah.
That's correct. That's correct. Fortunately, at the end of the game, whatever cards you have in your hand, you will only be able to score them once.
One time.
You
One
do not get the
instance.
multipliers. That's correct. Then everyone adds up their points. Whoever has the most is the winner.
most points wins. And score is just these sand dollars that you're acquiring throughout the course of the game.
You're earning sand dollars, correct.
Excellent. All right, so these have both sold out here at Origins, but
Yes.
when will the general public be able to get these games?
Okay, so what I've been told is that the Eastern Wonders should be available to retail in a few weeks.
Okay.
So they weren't exact with the date on that. And with Reef, I believe it is August was the time frame I was given, that it will be available to retail in August.
Excellent. Can we just show the cover of Reef as it's
Absolutely.
right next to you? Emerson Matsuuchi, Plan B Games, thank you so much for spending some time with us. More from Origins on the way. Thank you.